we go. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stefaan Vandist. So happy to be here and to kick off a TEDx edition where we're going to peel the onion when it comes to sustainability, expert by expert, layer after layer, and talk after talk. My talk or my story for today will be all about why and how to craft unifying visions of the future and translate them into emerging experience. Why should we do that? But I would like to try and start first with a question to you. Did every one of you ever consider that everything in life starts or ends like a story? Yeah? Your career is hopefully a good story. Maybe your childhood, you think of your childhood as a story. Maybe you'll meet somebody at the bar later on, and maybe that becomes a story. Yeah, every TED Talk is a story, and maybe you will talk about these TED Talks next week and make it your story. Everything in life is sooner or later a story, and storytelling is a kind of superpower of human beings. We make sense of the world. We make sense of the world by thinking of it as stories. We share ideas and remember ideas in the shape of stories. With a story, you can trigger imagination. You can do a lot of things. You make complexity easy, educate and on the possible and plausible. You can ignite the inner fire of people. You can unite and engage people, start a movement, motivate people to go on. In fact, this seems to be the ultimate playbook when it comes to sustainability. Stories are like mental post-it notes that you can stick to people's brain and define what they will remember and what they will believe. And that's why stories are so extremely important. Yeah, we can think of alarming stories when it comes to climate, but it's not because they are true that they work. That's an important thing. When we think about our future narrative, it looks a bit like this right now. I think everybody thinks, oh my God, we are fucked. Yeah. And fucked stands for feelings of fear, uncertainty, cynicism, and doubt. And the bad thing is that these feelings bring our brain on mute. Yeah. And when a brain is on mute, it is very hard to bring people in a mode of action. I believe that we have to work and build a completely different narrative when it comes to sustainability. However, the challenges are very big. We dump 48 gigatons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere every year. That's the equivalent of a big chunk of charcoal with the size of an extra large football stadium every second. And this is the reason why 10,000 of years with a moderate and soft and balanced climate are quite over. Every stripe here represents a year from the early 1880s till the last years, and you can see that this moderate climate is over. Yeah. 2 or 3 days ago, WWF published a report with a similar graph showing that we lost 69% of biodiversity in the past 50 years because of climate change, because we destroy natural habitats, but also because we are replacing wildlife and animals with livestock consisting of cows, pig, and chicken. 11,000 species of birds, 80% of bird biomass are replaced by 2 types of chickens. Listen to the names COP 500 and ROS 308. That sounds like industrial spare parts for machines, right? That is what's happening. This cannot be the pinnacle of science and technology. We need to think of a new narrative for humanity. I cannot share this story with my children and with my grandchildren. I guess you can't do it either. Now, the good thing is, this is my belief that the next big story will be a lot of stories. Yeah, connected stories, interwoven stories, your stories. And it will not be about yelling and telling those stories. It will all be about leading by example. And the good thing is, and this is the psychological trick, when it comes to the future, people don't know what they want. They often don't know. That's why we have to translate bold, unifying, and attractive visions into experiences. To take control of our future narrative, how can we contribute to this? We all have to craft attractive and unifying visions of the future so that we can build cross-disciplinary coalitions of the willing to practice prototyping, provocative prototyping, to softly, gently provoke and engage people to imagine and embrace different possible futures and celebrate every step forward, big and small. Don't worry, I'm going to show how it works. You start with a what-if question. An attractive and unifying vision of the future is so much more stronger than numbers and statistics and rational arguments. This is what motivates people. This is what moves people. And you're going to need it because you're going to craft and create a coalition of the willing with different players inside and outside your industry, usual and unusual suspects. And why? Because as a coalition of the willing, you create your own force of change to rewrite the rules of the game. And as early as possible, you have to start prototyping your visual in order to make it feasible and tangible, to make it real. Too many sustainability projects, they starve and they die in an early process in the meeting room. We have to liberate the future from the meeting room. And last but not least, when we make things tangible, we have to celebrate every step, big and small. We have to celebrate it. Yeah? I would like to show you some visions of the future that I'm working in right now with some big and small companies. Okay? What if we reinstall some sort of military service, not to fight each other, but to fight climate change? Wouldn't that be a good idea to teach 21st century skills to youngsters, to give them a sense of purpose, and maybe create this real, very first globally connected generation? Yeah. The interesting thing is that, or maybe surprising, it is the tourism industry that takes this very serious, because this is an innovation boulevard that provides tribute in a positive way to destinations instead of putting a lot of pressure on destinations. Yeah? Maybe this way we can have a new connection or reconnect with the natural world, and maybe a whole young generation will understand nature-based solutions, those superpowers that can allow us to come up with innovations to restore nature with nature. And maybe we rediscover not the metaverse, but the microverse. All life on Earth consists of 5 kingdoms: animals, plants, bacteria, algae, and yeast. And it's this microverse that is starting to become the operating system that we call nature, where every microorganism is an app or a microfactory for the materials, the nutrients, the proteins, and so on of the next generation. One of my clients has been thinking of the immune system of the human body and is now translating insights, new insights on how immune systems work to the built worlds, and are building immune systems for conference rooms like this, buildings, cities, like a sort of bioshield that protects us of pathogens, allergens, fine dust, dirty smells, and so on. What if every village, every town, every city will have its own breweries? Its own breweries where we grow the materials of the future. We think of leather, we think of meat, we think of construction materials, we think of textiles, and so on. Yeah. This way, maybe everything that we produce now globally, we can grow locally. And maybe that leads to new crafts, new digital crafts, where we program designs for new materials and we grow them, and manufacturing looks like brewing beer. Yeah, that's a bit the vision of how we can tackle food and production of many products and materials in a next stage. And this way, maybe we can think of our countrysides. What if we can liberate the countryside from economical production? And maybe we can turn the countryside in something that is joyful. Yeah? Maybe edible landscapes, singing landscapes, joyful landscapes. What if the revolution on our plate for the next 10 years will be more radical than the revolution behind our computers the past 30 years? Yeah. What kind of new outlooks does that deliver? Something funny now. I work for dance and music festivals. And what if we consider dance and music festivals as the innovation playgrounds of the future? Yeah, where 10,000s of people wake up in the morning, brush their teeth, want to take a shower, want to eat, and want to explore and enjoy. And maybe they are our guinea pigs to test and experiment the bold solutions of the future for 21st century challenges. We can think of new modular architecture, living architecture, the energy systems of the future. If we want to find inspiration when it comes to sustainability in the future, most of the people look at the emerging startups and their radical, disruptive new ideas. And that's a good source of inspiration. But at the same time, you can also look at history. Back in other times, there is a lot of inspiration to be found, like in the 16th and 17th century, Amsterdam enjoyed a golden age because of Zaandam. Zaandam was the very first industrial site, according to historians, where 500 windmills were the configuration of the very first energy paradise. This is the place where products were processed before exporting or before selling in the city. And think of our current technological capabilities. What would be the energy paradise of the 21st century? What would it look like? What do we have to do to turn the port of Antwerp, the port of Rotterdam, or the port of Antwerp, Rotterdam, Hamburg into the energy paradises of the future? Maybe the answer lies in the energy systems of the future. More than ever, energy companies, operators of critical infrastructures, are inspired by how nature works. And I think of ecosystems like jungles and coral reefs. If you think of nature, the entire nature is powered by direct sunlight. Yeah? It's not about zero waste. There is a lot of waste in nature, but waste equals food. Nothing gets lost. Every activity leads to balance and resilience, not just growth. Yeah? The autonomy of species or organisms is largely due to interdependence and resilience. A system is resilient thanks to diversity. The business model is the ecosystem, and nature thrives on effectiveness rather than efficiency. And if you want to know the difference between effectiveness and efficiency, think of making love. Yeah? Efficiency is quick, predictable, standardized, and neaty. Yeah? While effectiveness is slow, messy, and dirty. I leave it to you what you prefer the most. But it is the reason why I am taking coral classes. Yeah? Coral classes to learn how to restore coral reefs. And it's not because I suffer a sort of God complex or I want to satisfy my Disney kind of feelings. It is because I want to learn. Because coral reefs are systems that are on the bark of extinction, but holds the intelligence and the models that can teach us how to thrive and transform. Yeah? That's about vision. Let's now go to coalitions of the willing. You're gonna need them. You're going to connect with coalitions of the willing who want to transform the rules of the game. Like this example in the Netherlands, who wants to make the construction industry fossil-free and zero waste. Or this one in Flanders, where 187 companies join the vision that if we one day will have a climate positive industry, we have to go offshore, yeah? Harvesting the winds, making islands of hydrogen, and grow marine crops. Last year, we gathered with 350 creative minds to think of a context to demonstrate possibility when it comes to our energy system. We were inspired by many system challenges. What if all activities on the grid contribute to balance instead of congestion? What if we come up with business models where we create more value by selling less energy? And what if we build off symbiotic relations with public space rather than conflict? And 15 ideas are now on the drawing table to translate into prototyping. Like, for example, how can we think of neighborhoods as energy islands that are largely autonomous thanks to interdependence? We create experiences to make alternative futures visible and tangible. And my clicker doesn't work anymore. I don't know what happens. Maybe I push the switch. Maybe this one. Nope. Shall I say push? Yeah, and then we can go on. So after prototyping comes, yeah, okay. The good thing is that prototyping works for virtually every industry. No matter you think about food, textiles, fashion, or mobility, here we are practicing prototyping with the international shipping industry, exploring possibilities for zero emission shipping and circular building of vessels. This one is maybe a bit more fancy and shiny. We came up with a fake supermarket to build awareness on water scarcity, helping people to imagine what would happen if water is very scarce and average ordinary products become total luxuries. Yeah, this is how we build awareness through experiences, and we want to make the VIP area of the ocean race, turn it into a supermarket to influence people who are decision makers. So we end up with celebrations, ladies and gentlemen. Why and how celebration? As marketeers, we create smoke screens of perfection. But when it comes to sustainability, it's not about communicating the perfect product. It is about communicating passionate processes. Yeah, celebrating every breakthrough, every step, big or small, not because they are easy, but because they are difficult. And there is a kind of psychological hack. If there is success, everybody wants to be part of the party. To elaborate on this, I would like to take you back to a dance festival. When it comes to sustainability, a dance festival can do three things. You can green the festival 360 degrees around. You have to think about food, energy, waste, and so on, mobility. Or you can use the sound power of your festival to inspire young people with sustainability as maybe the most beautiful adventure when it comes to entrepreneurship. Or you can consider your festival as a pop-up city where you can experiment with prototypes for a new world. And there is an analogy with virtually every other organization. Yeah, you can green your organization. You have to do that. You can contribute the best of your vision and your talent to a different story, and you can build coalitions, prototype, celebrate, and repeat. contribute your vision and talent to a different story, build coalitions, prototype, celebrate, and repeat. Now, that's my formula. This is my formula for narratives to collaboratively build narratives that are worth sharing. Yeah, I would say let the best story on the future win. Always, you can now unbuckle your seat belts, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you a first-class journey, and thank you for your attention.